Welcome to the Upshot, Multi-World Disc Golf's podcast about the latest in the disc golf world. I'm the editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me is Josh Mansfield on this Thursday, April 4th. We don't have a Pro Tour event. We don't have a tournament of any kind this weekend, Josh. It's been a while since we've had a week off.
It's funny because, they said that they're reducing the number of tournaments that we're going to be watching, and yet it feels like the beginning of this season has been busy as just as any of them. So, but break this weekend.
U.S. Women's, I think, made it feel a little more intense than it will for most of the rest of the season. So we've got an opportunity right now. But you know what? Before I get to this, Josh, every day, wake up, come out here, get ready to do the Upshot, open up my inbox, and there's just a bunch of email that I do not wish to have. Garbage news, like all this stuff. And I swear to God, I go in there and I unsubscribe from this stuff day after day after day, and I never seem to be able to get out from under it. Are people selling my email? Like,
yes.
I don't understand.
See, Charlie, that means that you're spending twice as much time as I am when I just click through and delete them, because I know
do that too.
I know. Well, right, but you have to go in and unsubscribe.
Oh.
And so you're taking twice as long to fight a battle that you're never going to win.
What a horrible thing. Emails, such as it's like this wasteland of like annoying marketing emails. And God, what's the worst is when you like want emails from like you like want one email from an organization, but they send you 10, you know?
Yep.
And there's no way to only get the one that you want. Ay. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry for the brief distraction. We're going to take an opportunity today, now that the Texas Swing has wrapped up, to do some stock picks. It's been a while. We've got us, we've seen the beginning of the season. I think it's, you could call through Champions Cup as kind of like the first chunk of the year.
I think
but in
so,
a way, this is a natural break too, and we've had 4 tournaments, 5 in FPO. To kind of like see where things are. We're well over a month into the season, and so Josh, time to diversify our portfolios a little bit and get ready to roll for the rest of the year.
That's right. I'm excited.
So let's just dive right in. I want to start with the winners from the season so far. Some of which obviously are players who have been doing lots of winning for many years. Others who are new to being at the top of the leaderboard. So, Josh, I'll kick it to you right away. And let's begin with the player who is red hot right now, and that is Anthony Barella. Buy, hold, or sell on AB?
Yeah, Anthony, when we decided on Tuesday that we were going to do stock picks today, I spent a lot of time thinking about Anthony Barella. Because this is the one that I knew it was coming. I knew I was going to have to answer for it. My answer is hold. Here's why. Player stocks they're never going to remain stagnant. They are always going to be declining unless they play at a level that like boosts their stock, right? And like keeps them up. Anthony Barella, as if he doesn't win for a while, he can play well, but like the hype is still going to go down from winning 2 tournaments in a month, essentially. And so it's still going to go down unless he wins. And then it jumps a little bit back up, and the ceiling goes up a little bit, but then it slowly decays a little bit, and then it jumps back up. The only way you break out of that marginal gains in the stocks are one of 2 things. Number one, you've got to win enough tournaments that like breaks our conception of what we think is typical in this era of MPO. Like think 5, right? Winning 3, maybe 4 would get him there. But like if he wins 5, then that's going to push his stock up to new heights. Or he needs to win a major. Both of those things feel like the final leg of a season-long prop bet that I put $100 on, and I'm hoping to cash out 50 grand on. Not where I want to put my money in stock picks. So I think I'm just going to hold it's too high. I don't want to put any more in. It's going to take some crazy things to really push it up and get return on Anthony Barella.
I mean, realistically, Josh, AB's stock is nowhere near the top of the market yet. Like even after 2 wins.
Okay.
Right? Because Calvin Heimberg's stock's still more expensive.
You're right.
I mean, arguably Eagle McMahon's stock is still more expensive.
I have a counterpoint after you're done, though.
So here's the thing. Has AB stock climbed precipitously, pulled an Nvidia over the last few weeks? Perhaps. But this is like buying Amazon in 1999. And then, sure, the stock price collapsed like 90%. But you know what? If you bought Amazon in 1999, you're a rich man today. Give me the AB stock. This is the chance to get in. Like, you've seen it now.
Sure.
The guy's here.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me he's not going to keep winning? I do not believe you. I am happy to buy more now. I would have bought after chess.com. I would have bought after European Open. I mean, that was the true buying opportunity.
That's the true buying opportunity. I would have bought stock then too. Yes,
I don't know if we did stock picks back like at that point of the year, but I would have been like smashing buy.
Yeah, agreed.
But it's still a buy now. Like, selling here is the big mistake. Like, you have a guy who could be the generational player for the next 15 years. I'm not even kidding. Like, I can understand if you're like want to hedge your bets a little bit, but and add some Gannon Burr stock there too. But like, this is the opportunity to get in before the price keeps going up, because I think that it will. So I'm buying.
Here's let me just give you one counterpoint to this. I think AB's stock is higher than you think it is right now, because I think the way AB fans have waited for this moment, it feels like this is a company that the fans have pushed it up and we're waiting. I'm just going to do it. DJT on the stock market, Donald Trump's new public company, brought in surged, giving, and I've got the article up right now from BBC. When it first went public, went so high that it gave the company a valuation of $11 billion, while only bringing in $44 million in revenue last year. It is contracted by billions of dollars. I think we still have the time. The AB stock is going to contract, and AB fans are putting just a little bit too much money in AB right now. That's how I feel about AB.
It's a fair point. These are the same conversations that go on in the stock market. By the way, I'm going to pass on the DJT stock, personally.
Did you buy options on it?
Oh, I looked into the cost of betting against this stock, and it was just astronomically expensive to bet against it. And so I was like, I'm just going to have to sit on the sidelines for this one.
Yeah, that's fair. Talk about a roller coaster. All right.
Oh, my God. I mean, the company's like intrinsic value is just like so low. Like, this company isn't worth anything, and its market cap right now is $6 billion. Ridiculous.
This is a little bit how I feel about AB.
Here come the unsubscribes. I don't care. Let's go. What's next?
All right, next up. I'm just going to give you who I think is the possible foil to Anthony Barella that we saw this past weekend, Gannon Burr.
Same story for me here. You got to keep buying. There's just no choice. Like, it's just an accumulation period. Like, Gannon's still not, like, people are still not giving him the credit, I think, for how good he can be. And so I would like to continue to purchase shares.
I think Gannon's the counter story to Anthony Barella. While Anthony is outsized in terms of his like value right now because of his popularity, I think Gannon, especially just getting beat by Anthony, this is a good time to buy more. So I agree. Buy Gannon stock.
How about over on the FPO side, Waco winner, Kristen Tatar.
My gut says buy, but because I think the stock is going to go back to Kristen prices as soon as she wins again. And that's what happens with Kristen. Every time she wins, it jumps right back up to the highs of where it used to be.
I think clearly we're off the highs.
We're off the highs.
Right. With her, like, obviously at the end of last season, it was already super high. And then when she wins Waco, like, boom.
Still up there.
Up at all-time highs. And now we got to be coming down a little bit off those.
Yes. So I think I probably buy Kristen stock because of how proven of a player she is. Every time she wins, it's going to jump right back up. Like, I almost think that you you day trade Kristen stock, right? You buy Kristen stock now. As soon as she wins a tournament, you go sell all your Kristen stock. And then the next week when she takes 5th and everyone's like, Kristen's washed again, then you buy a lot of Kristen stock.
Not so sure that it's going to be that fluctuating. Like this is someone who just won 5 majors in a row. Like,
yes.
Are you really seeing dips when she doesn't win a tournament? Maybe small.
I feel like Kristen though I feel like top players, Kristen and then Paige and Paul have gone through this, where as soon as they don't win a tournament or don't perform their best, everyone just is like, oh, we got to question Kristen Tatar. I don't know. But the markets are probably a little more resilient to that. But I would buy Kristen stock. I don't think she's not done.
I think it's an interesting one, actually. Like, the obvious thing is to say, well, buy. But, like, that's what everybody's thinking. So the price is like, it's already priced in, Josh. It sort of feels like a hold to me, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm not sure that I want to add more to an already vast holding of Kristen Tatar stock. Sure. Because I do think it's possible we see like a relatively like an up and down season from Kristen where, she wins a major or two and still going to win another 3-4 DGPT events. And yet, despite all that winning, it's going to look worse than last year. So like, are we really going to be seeing the stock moving higher and higher? I mean, how much higher can it get after last year?
Sure.
So I think I sit tight and see what happens here.
I think
like I could see her losing at Jonesboro, where she didn't win last year, by the way. And then I think she did win Music City Open, right?
Yes.
But I think it's a course where she could lose. And then, we go to Northwood, where I don't think, has she won Ledgestone?
She doesn't play it. She's always in Europe during that time.
Yeah. You're right. So it's kind of
she hasn't played it in the modern.
I don't know. I just think there's a chance maybe that you're going to be able to, if she continues to like look a little off her game, which she does right now, there's a better buying opportunity in the future. So I'm just going to sit tight.
Okay. All right. Next up, I think this one's tricky. Evelina Salonen.
I already sold.
Yes, you did.
For years, I was like, this is the year. This is the time. I was wrong every time. And then at the beginning of the season, I was like, I'm out. I'm done.
Sold it all.
And she wins immediately. I lost literal money betting against Evelina Salonen in the Discord. I think it's just a hold for me. I don't think I want to like actually get out, but I don't think I just don't see the putting being quite good enough for her to like really ascend to the level that I think she's capable of. Like, look what happened the last few weeks. It's better. The putting is better. It's definitely better, but it's still not good. And the thing is, like, her being like around average or a little below average is still enough for her to be competitive. But I don't know if we're going to keep seeing wins. Her only win was without Kristen in the field.
Yep. Yeah.
In like 4 years. So I'm going to sit tight.
Yeah, me too. I think there's a chance that you strike the lottery with this one if you hold on to even just a few shares. But I'm not making enough money to sell it right now. So
bought too much DJT stock. Okay. How about we continue with the winners right now?
Yep.
Let's go through rapid fire through the other FPO winners so far.
Okay.
Oates Goggins.
Hold.
Yeah, I've sold own stock in the past, and I think I just have to accept that was just a terrible choice and hold.
Yeah.
I mean, she's going to win another tournament. I mean,
she is.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
She's like gotten her distance to the point where she's like it's an acceptable
It's an
level
acceptable
of distance
range.
on most
Yeah,
courses.
it is.
And then, she's still the A1 putter.
Yep.
Missy Gannon.
Missy, I think I hold. I think her stock is down from previous years, but I also think that it is stabilized, and so I'm hesitant to get rid of all of my stock right now.
I think hold or buy for me. I think I might buy.
Yeah.
I feel like what we saw at US Women's was a new level of play for Missy, and she's steadily been like climbing towards Kristen levels of accuracy. And it's a little sketchy to buy now coming off the major win, but I think I do.
Okay.
I think she's got a year or two. I mean, it's very possible she wins Player of the Year this year. Like, she's arguably the front runner right now. Simply because she's won the major.
Because she's won the major.
And no one else has more than one win.
It's fair.
Where's she in the standings right now? It's obviously still early. She's first in standings.
She's first in standings because the majors were 200 points.
Yeah, well,
okay, you ready for this? You ready for this, though? She's only 4 points ahead of Own.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is really that Missy finished kind of bad at Waco at what was an Elite Plus.
Yeah.
And Own was second. I mean, Own after a 7th place finish to start the year is second, first, fourth, third.
If you take now the major, right? Like, if you compare the wins, Missy gets 100 more points than Own at the major.
Right.
That means Own in the other tournaments has made up almost a full 100 points on Missy in 5 tournaments. She's averaging 20 points per tournament.
Yeah.
Now, and that's a little bit of a misnomer because of, the different weights of tournaments, but still, I mean, you get the point, right?
I get the point. Yeah. I mean, yeah, but give me some more Missy stock. I believe.
Okay. All right.
Last one, Anniken Sten.
Gotta sell stock.
Interesting.
I think it's at a high.
Well, it's definitely at a high.
Yeah, it's a sure. High. I just don't think, even if she goes back to Europe and wins a couple times in Europe, I just think it's highly unlikely that pushes her stock any higher than her first win stateside. So yeah, I'm selling. I don't know if I had any to sell, to be honest. Like, that might be the trick here, right?
Yeah. We assume some holdings.
We assume some holdings and all. Okay.
Yeah. 16th, 16th, 28th, 1st. Cashed at every tournament so far this year.
Yep.
Here's what I'd say. She's an all-time high ratings wise. She's a former professional figure skater. She just stared down Kristen and Own. I'll buy.
Okay.
Maybe that's crazy, but we're seeing someone who is now more sponsored, playing more tournaments, coming off an incredibly confidence-building moment, and I thought showed a lot of shot-making ability. We saw her consistently shoot 1,000-rated rounds. Yes, the course was straightforward, but like, everyone was playing the same course.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And, I think it's fair to say that if Kristen had played to her capacity in round 1, she would have won the tournament. But Anniken was the best player through 3 rounds. Simple as that. It wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a lucky thing. I mean, Kristen still played great in rounds 2 and 3. Anniken had to play well in that 3rd round, and she did. Her putting looks good, much improved. She's putting herself in position to score on almost every hole. Now, is it an easy course? Sure.
Yeah.
Is it a little concerning that she's finished outside the top 15 at all the other tournaments this year? Of course. But I just feel like we're going to see her get some more wins this year. Maybe only over in Europe. But hey, give me some more. I'll buy in when the breakout happens right now.
Interesting. I just think you're going to have an opportunity later in the season to buy it cheaper.
Maybe. The markets are forward looking, Josh. They're forward looking. All right. Let's do the same thing over on the MPO side. We have we just have one.
Well, we've only got one winner left,
and it's Nicholas Antila.
Nicholas Antila, what are you doing with the Finn?
As good as Nicholas is, he does not have the ceiling of AB and GB. He doesn't throw far enough. It's really that simple. And so I'm going to hold.
I think that Nicholas is probably priced right where it should be.
Yep.
And so I want to say hold as well, but I just think that there are too many opportunities with the European swing that he might actually win 3 or 4 on tour. And while it wouldn't feel quite like, I don't think it'd push his stock quite the same as it would if he were all stateside, I think there's a chance that Nicholas goes over and dominates Europe. So I'm going to buy.
Okay. Reasonable option here. All right. So we move from players who have won this season to players who have been winners in the past and are maybe a little off their game right now. We're going to go to this category next.
Okay.
And I think we have to start with the GOAT, at least the arguable GOAT, and that's Paul McBeth, who has had a very slow start to the year and frankly had a slow 2023. Kind of dealing with an injury. Josh, what are you doing with Mr. McBeth?
Stock has to be at an all-time low right now.
Definitely at the low of like the last 10 years.
Okay.
I mean, when he was 16, you could probably bought some stock for cheap.
Okay, so all-time low since he was 16.
You still don't want to buy.
No, I'm going to. You have to buy when it's at this all-time low, because as much as I want to be like, I think McBeth's time is done. Like, I still think that he's going to pull a Tiger Woods and come out and win a major. Not this season necessarily, but sometime he is going to win one more MPO major. And until that happens, I'm gonna buy McBeth stock every stock show. So.
Dang, man. It's kind of a tough call, though, isn't it?
It is. It's so hard. It's so hard.
It doesn't feel like even last year. It feels like we're watching the sport start to move past him.
I know.
Which is crazy to think.
We don't even talk about him weekly anymore.
I know. But the big question mark with all of it is the injury. Because if he can get back to 100%, which he's not at right now, do you still believe he can compete week in and week out? And I think the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think you have to accept the risk of, I mean, look, it's risk reward, right? The worst is already priced into the stock. So I think you buy here. As a value investor, I have to buy here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that when he's dialed, and a lot assumes that he gets healthy. And we don't know that he's going to ever get like fully back to like throwing at the same level. But I've watched the guy bounce back from challenges so many times that like, it's not like he's 37, you know?
Right.
He's in his early 30s. It's not like he's like super old. If he was 37, I would be like, I'm out. I'm selling. Thank you for all the dividends you've paid over the years. But yeah, I think I have to buy here. It's just like, if you don't buy here and then he starts winning again, you're going to be very upset with yourself.
Yep.
Okay, who's next?
Let's give you the FPO equivalent right now is what it feels like. Paige Pierce.
I think I hold. I just like you could obviously make the exact same argument about Paul that I just made about Paige. Totally doable. Totally, it would be understandable, logical. But I just feel like it's been kind of too long since we've seen Paige playing at the levels that she was playing at back in 2021 and beyond and before. And like, when is it going to turn around? I mean, I don't want to sell because I think that, she still has the opportunity, but I kind of need to see something from her that makes me say, okay, I'm ready to buy more, even if that means I pay a higher price.
I am willing to sell half of my stocks right now. I'm still holding some, but I'm selling half.
Wow.
And let me tell you why. Here's the biggest difference between her and Macbeth. Every time Macbeth goes into a weekend and doesn't play well for the past few years, he makes some inspirational garbage Instagram post about how he wasn't focused and he'll be ready to lock in next week. There were real question marks about Paige and her motivation and desire to continue to play the game and her focus around the game, to the point that in our interview with her, when she went to Hawaii and then came back and won a lot, to her credit, she said she thought about never coming back. And tell me that an injury like she's experiencing now and the grind that she's going through week in and week out is not something that for most people who were struggling with motivation to begin with isn't enough to say, that was my time. I'm hanging up the discs. There are lots of other opportunities that I have in this sport, and I'm going to explore them. And at which point, your Paige stock is worth nothing. It's it's blockbuster stock at that point, right? Like, and I just want to get rid of some of mine. And again, if I have to buy it a little bit higher price, so be it. If she makes that resurgence, but I don't want to be stuck with absolutely valueless stock if Paige decides to hang it up.
She's gonna come back and win Jonesboro. Watch.
I know.
All right. How about somebody who's been on the on ice for a little while? Eagle McMahon.
Buy so much. I'm buying Eagle McMahon stock.
I think I'm buying too.
Yeah.
Eagle
McMahon stock should be where Gannon and Anthony is.
Yeah.
Yes,
I think we could have a 3-headed monster there at the top of MPO for a while.
Absolutely.
How about Simon Lizotte? He's in a funk
not quite,
right now.
He is in funk. He's got the next kid coming soon too.
Bend the shit out of his pixel.
Yeah. I think he still is going to put up a win this season. So I'm going to hold because I think there will be a better time to sell. But I'm not buying any Simon stock right now.
Someone asked in the Discord, what are the odds? I'll read the question exactly.
Okay.
What odds would you give that Simon has a season that surpasses his 2023? It comes from Mike.
I don't know if you could give me odds.
100 to 1. I mean,
yeah.
No way.
No, I'm not betting that.
Too much season already gone, I think.
Exactly. And maybe he clusters a couple wins, but
how many turns did he win last year?
Didn't he win two? Yeah.
Maybe 100 to 1 is a little too much. 50 to 1? It's just, this is
you give me any better odds than that.
This is typical Simon, right?
Yeah.
He kind of isn't playing that good, and then he'll just win.
And that's true.
Almost seemingly out of nowhere, he'll just win. So what's stopping him from doing that this year? But he looks off out there right now. It's hard to really commit to that.
Okay.
So yeah, did I say what I'm going to do with Simon? I think
I don't know if you did.
It's a hold, but I'm thinking about selling. If I'm being honest.
I think he gets one this season, and then I'll sell some Simon stuff.
Okay, let's keep him moving.
Yeah. All right, Haley King. She's only played 2 events.
All right, now we're just kind of into the interesting people category.
She took 4th at Waco and 35th at US Women's.
It's an absolute straight up hold for me. I am at the point where I am not sure that we're ever going to see Haley become the consistently excellent player that she's capable of being.
Mm-mm.
And I know she's still really young. She's still really young.
Really young.
So you have to keep that in mind, but I just feel like I need to see a higher level of consistency and also just like showing up on tour. I can't I'm not selling. I'm definitely not selling, but I'm not looking to add more here.
I don't know if I could list a younger player who demonstrates that level of talent, whose motivation and drive to play the game have gone up when it's been a question mark early in their careers. Right? The longer you're playing disc golf, the longer you're on the grind, the less you have motivation. So if the motivation and drive are what we question about Haley right now, because she just doesn't play on tour, that's not something I expect to get better the longer she, pushes through it. So, agreed. Hold.
All right. Let's go to Calvin Heimberg. There's only one answer.
I think it's hold for me.
No.
And the biggest reason is I just don't think his stock has taken that much of a drop. Because of the injury.
Buying.
No, I don't think the price drops significantly because of the injury. I think if you're the market, you say once he's healthy, he's going to be back to Calvin. So I'm not dropping it and making it easy for people to buy right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand the argument, and
that's why I hold.
Be helpful to have some literally people have sent in like simulator stock price things. I haven't like spent the time to look at them in close detail, but maybe we can do that in the future.
Yeah.
But I'm adding here.
You think his stock is down?
Stock's down. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing though, Charlie. I actually kind of like that we don't have fixed stock prices because I think there's an interesting conversation to be had about like how you evaluate
how
players.
People would be evaluating the players.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's two layers to this discussion, which I think is interesting.
I think people are selling Calvin to buy Anthony and Gannon, and so like prices are coming down, and I think it's a great spot to buy because it wouldn't surprise me at all that once again, there's so much injury risk, right? And I think that uncertainty is going to weigh on prices, but I'm happy to buy into what is believed to just be an overuse injury, and he's resting his arm. And I don't know, I'm seeing great putting, and I'm seeing like choppy play, but like the ceiling still looks super high.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to get some more here.
Yeah. I mean, if you're right, I buy.
Let's keep it moving. What you got next?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a package here. You got to pick between a couple of them.
Okay, so this is I'm only down to a few dollars left, and I have to choose
exactly
where to invest. Yeah. Okay, I like it.
Holland, Ella, Henna. Holland definitely has the highest stock of the group.
No question.
Like I think that's the order of the stock prices.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Right there. Holland, Ella, Henna. That's the price. That is the order of stock prices. You can argue about how close they each are, but given that's the order, which one are you putting your dollars in?
I'm gonna go with the blue chip of this group, and that's Holland. Like, yeah, am I buying the highest price? Yes, but I'm also buying the player who's proven to win, has shown the ability to compete with Kristen, is a solid putter, and maybe that's the biggest factor of all. Henna cannot win until she reworks her putt, and I'm talking ground up. I've said it before on the show, and I'm saying it again. It needs to be completely reworked. It is fundamentally broken, and until she can make putts consistently from 25 feet and in, there's just absolutely no chance that she's going to win a tournament. It's not possible.
Yep.
The quality is too high in FPO at this point to get away with just being a great thrower of backhands. So yeah, I'm like definitely out on Henna. Like I'm basically at the point where I'm ready to sell. Ella just hasn't proven to be able to like withstand the pressure of big spots. And similar thing, like I'm not ready to add there.
I hold on Holland. I buy on Ella because I think her stock has the most opportunity to move when she gets a win. And I think it's inevitable. Ella has just leveled up season after season after season. And I mean, she has not been playing the game that long. And I think she has a little bit of a slow start because not even a slow start. She didn't play Texas State's, and she is the only player in the top 10 who only has played 4 tournaments. Kristen. So, those two, good company. And I think there's lots of value. I buy Ella. I sell my Hannah stock. I think
just out.
I think like it might go up marginally, but I agree. I don't think she's going to win. And so why would I hold it?
It's fair.
I'm going to fund my other endeavors.
Okay. Let's see. How about Isaac Robinson?
This one's hard. I'm going to hold. I think it's likely that Isaac wins the tournament this season, but I think his stock is going to continue to drop before it does. And a win that isn't a major is only just going to bring him back up to where he's at now. It is going to take another major win this season, and I just have a hard time betting like with stocks on somebody winning a major that isn't named Kristen Starr. So I hold
a slow start for Isaac.
Yeah.
6th, 47th, 29th, 22nd. I'm a hold.
Yeah.
I need to kind of wait and see. I feel like you get the sense that last year was a little bit of like him playing above and beyond. Credit to him. I mean, it's not like he led wire to wire at Worlds. He had to come back from down and did.
Yep.
But I don't know. It gives me a little pause to see the slow start here this season.
Agreed.
Couple more.
Oh, you gave me Isaac, huh? All right.
I did. Yeah.
You're right. All right. Let me give you. Okay. How about this? I'm gonna give you another pair to let you pick from. These are the Brody Bros. One does a podcast, one does practice rounds. Paul Ulibarri, Ezra Aderhold.
Honestly, Josh, they're both pretty interesting players. I mean, Paul continues to like exceed expectations, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look, he is 29th. He's got 2 top 20 finishes. He just finished 11th this past weekend. And, you know, this is kind of where he was last year, right? He snuck into the Tour Championship, and like he's sitting right at that bubble again right now. And at his age, like that's an amazing accomplishment to continue to play at this level. I don't think I'm really trying to buy his stock though. On the other hand, Ezra, I think he still is somebody who could like crack off and get a win. I mean, I think you saw it this weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I mentioned on the Tuesday show, his rating would have been good enough for a win at any other tournament this year, and it just wasn't good enough this weekend because of the level of play that we saw from Anthony Barella and Gannon Burr. So I'm a little concerned about his putting. Like he's Kevin Jones-esque in that he's a better putter from 34 feet than he is from 32.
Yep.
I'd like to see that improve, but I would be happy to add a little Ezra stock here.
I hold my Ezra stock. I sell my Paul Ulibarri stock because I think we are, again, I mean, edge of Pro Tour is where we see him. The Pro Tour Championships is where he sits. But when the bottom falls out, it's going to fall out so fast that, again, it's not going to be worth anything when it does. So
when he wins one, we're going to replay this clip.
That's fine. That's a bet I'm willing to take. A risk. It's a risk I'm willing to accept over here.
All right, 2 players left. Valerie Mondahano is first up.
Okay. I buy Valerie stock. I think she's going to win one. And I know I picked her the past couple weeks in Texas, but she's won on tour each of the past couple seasons. And she was... There was too much hype at the beginning of a couple seasons ago where we were grouping her with, Kristen Page and Katrina. But she still could consistently win a tournament on tour every single season for years to come.
Would it shock you if she finished 4th in the Pro Tour standings this year?
No.
You got Missy, Owen, Kristen.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, yes. Evelina's in 3rd right now. Holland's in 5th. Hannah's in 6th. Valerie is in 7th.
I mean, if you group those players, like if I group Evelina, Holland, Hannah, Valerie, Ella together, put that in a bag, shake it up, pull out players in terms of order for DGPT standings. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's I think I'm a buy here as well.
Yeah, I think we're starting to see the green shoots of her becoming a more consistently good player again. We saw her kind of like lackluster for long stretches last year. Obviously she had to win, but that was really the only tournament it felt like she really played great. But we're seeing now, like, she's got multiple top 10s. And this is like going back to where she was 2 seasons ago. And that's a very good sign. So I think I'm happy to add here. How about another resurgent player, Gavin Rathbun? This is our last one.
I don't have a ton of Gavin Rathbun stock, obviously. After the injury, I mean, just things kind of fell off.
Yeah, the chance to buy was obviously last year.
Agreed. You're a genius if you did. But I just hold. I don't know if he has the ceiling to get the win. And he's not consistent enough like Matty O. I mean, who did get a win. But like, I think he's just going to be a perennial 11 to 20 player at his best. And it's because he has a floor that's lower than any of the other guys in that range when he took 96th at Waco. And that's just too concerning to me to actually buy stock. So I hold.
Yeah. I am on the fence.
Thinking of selling?
I'm thinking of selling because I feel like coming off this hot little stretch of play, but it's been a while since we've seen him play this level consistently. But I feel like it could be a real dumb move to sell.
I just think you could get decent dividends from him sitting to the 11th to 20th place for a couple of years.
Yeah.
That's my Gavin Rathbun play.
Yeah, and I think he's still like probably below the prices he was at 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hold. I don't quite want to sell, but I'm happy to sit tight with where we're at. So that's our stock picks. Let us know what you think. Where did we get it wrong? Who are other players that you would buy, sell, or hold? Email us, upshot@ultiworld.com. And make sure to join the Discord with a subscription at discgolf.ultiworld.com/subscribe. You get access to all of our subscriber bonus segments as well. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, 30-second rule on the other side and a great email. We'll be back. The Upshot is presented by Pound Disc Golf, makers of the best bags in the sport. I mentioned last week, Sexathorpe Earth, Nate Sexton's signature bag, available. The party edition is now available as well. So head over to pounddiscgolf.com to check that out. And you can get a ton of new Octagoat stamped Innova discs. You know what? They have pretty much everything you could be looking for. You want a Toro, you want a Rolo, Polecat, Destroyer, a bunch of Halo discs. They got a bunch of different stuff. So go over and check out what they've got and grab yourself a Pound Disc Golf disc to go in your Pound bag today. The Upshot is presented by Sunset Lake CBD, a farm that originally started as a dairy farm producing milk and cream for Ben & Jerry's ice cream, but they've since diversified and started growing hemp for CBD. You got to check their products out. This is the highest quality CBD, really super nice packaging, obviously really nice quality products themselves. I've been using the muscle rub when I have sore muscles. Feels fantastic, smells great. Really, really nice to be able to use that instead of, taking Tylenol or something like that. And you can save on Sunset Lake CBD products right now. You just got to go to sunsetlakecbd.com, use coupon code UPSHOT, and you will save 20% off your entire order. And hey, heads up, 420 sale, it's coming soon. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Upshot. It's time for 30-second rule, where we have 30 seconds to talk about each topic, and if we go over the time limit, maybe we'll get a warning. I don't know. Josh, take it away.
Yeah, 30-second rule has historically been used for news events, but today it's kind of a grab bag, and I'm actually excited about that. So we'll start with a couple newsy things. Smashbox had their 500th episode this last week. Big congratulations to Smashbox.
Nice.
What a legacy.
Nice. Yeah. The show, once upon a time, that's all there was in the podcast universe. And obviously Terry and JVD are still like the consummate insiders, particularly Terry these days. It's great to see them continuing on, hours into the middle of the night on Tuesdays. I don't stay up for that, but I also have a 4-month-old at home. So
exactly. So congratulations again to those guys. Next, Discmania is moving their Colorado facilities to Emporia. There was an email that went out that kind of outlines that Discmania is now going to be kind of molded into the House of Discs distribution line. And an email from David Hine, the House of Discs North America general manager, says that the unified ordering platform, and as a customer of discgolfdistribution.com, you now have the convenience of ordering products from multiple brands, including Discmania, Westside, Castaplast, Dynamic, Latitude 64, and Hand-Eye Supply Company, all from the one location in Emporia and one website. I mean, this really is the consolidation of the House of Discs brands in terms of the logistical side of those companies.
Yeah, it just makes sense, right? I mean, from like a distribution standpoint, I have to think that this was an inevitability. I kind of wonder whether they plan to do this from the jump, like upon the acquisition of Discmania. It was like, oh, we're definitely just going to move to everything to Emporia. Or if they were like, no, we're like going to keep like separate facilities to have like multiple locations. But I think with the slowdown in kind of across the industry, there probably put additional pressure to do this. I have to be honest, like all this acquisition spree, and the private equity firms coming in, like they basically bought the top. They were buying in the midst of kind of the top of the market cycle for disc golf coming out of the COVID. And I kind of wonder how it's all going right now. The one thing that I'm concerned about for House of Discs is that you have sort of like, now you have all these brands literally under one roof, rather than sort of just being loosely affiliated. And like, is there enough product differentiation there to feel like you're actually able to sell all of these different brands and like have people buy into that? I'm just a little like, at the end of the day, the plastic's pretty much the same. So, maybe there's like slight differences in molds, but I don't know. When I'm watching Discmania throwers still like aggressively using Innova made stuff, even today, like that should be concerning, right?
Right.
Like, what's the problem? Like, why aren't you able to make discs that people are as excited about as the ones that came out 7 years ago?
I think that is a problem. The other thing I've got a question is like, how many discs do you have sitting in stock that are like identical molds or just
That's
near
what I'm
identical?
saying.
Yeah, that are just that have no like differentiation between them except the brand that's on them.
I mean, it's just marketing basically,
Yeah.
and maybe that's enough. As you know, the brands have different, right? So DD has like its contracts and big warehouse stuff, and
Sure.
Latitude 64 obviously has Kristen and a heavy
Europe.
European distribution presence. So like there is some differentiation there, but like the physical products and like, I don't know, discs are very commoditized to me for the most part anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there are just slightly enough subtleties, I think, from brand to brand. Like when you think of non-House of Discs versus House of Discs, right? So people like a particular mid-range, even though other companies make mid-ranges with the same flight numbers, it's hard to know exactly what it is that makes the, you know, the destroyer, the destroyer versus other companies' drivers. But, you know, there is that factor. I feel like when you're using the same plastics and maybe not exactly the same molds, but more or less the same molds, how do you continue to like push forward? Even though like I think that House of Disc plastic is really high quality, I just wonder a little bit about like, are the molds the problem?
Well, here's something also that's interesting though. If I throw a PD and it's the new Discmania made PDs, if they discontinued that, right? Let's say they just said we're just going to sell House of discs now, and the PD didn't make the cut. So you have these alternatives. My alternative would not be inside of House of Discs. My alternative would be outside.
Even
of
if they made an identical product in a different name.
I mean, if they said the PD is now the X, then sure, whatever. Right? I don't care if they name it different. But if they said we're discontinuing the PD, our alternative is the Y, which has been produced by Latitude 64 in the past, I have a different product in mind that I would pick from a different company before I would pick that one.
That's fair.
So
interesting scenario, but I do think this move to Emporia for everything makes sense. Although Emporia is a really strange place to have be like your shipping where, like,
you mean that's not the hub?
Don't you want to be right by the airport? You know,
I
don't know how much that actually impacts things like shipping time, but
I don't either.
It doesn't help.
Emporia, Kansas.
Like
man.
They should be in Nashville, where, I mean, obviously, the city of Emporia has really helped out, and they have these facilities there. It is what it is. But you see these big shipping companies, they set up their warehouses next to UPS and FedEx, like distribution mega centers.
Right.
So I don't know.
Well, bad news, Charlie. We're on the clock now.
Yeah, it's
don't worry.
Deserved.
We're not getting a penalty though.
I'm gonna be like Nicholas and hit an ace on the next one. So let's go.
Okay, I think I'm gonna give you a softball here, Charlie. PDGA official world rankings were updated yesterday, Wednesday, April 3rd, and I'll hit them with you real quick, Charlie, and then I'm gonna let you react to what you think here on terms of these rankings. Over on MPO side, top 5, Calvin, not much movement. Calvin Heimberg in 1, Eagle McMahon in 2, Gannon Burr bumps up to 3, Ricky Wysocki drops down to 4, Kyle Klein holds the 5 spot. Over on FPO, no movement from previous. Kristen Tatar in the 1, Owen Scoggins in the 2, Evelina Salonen in the 3, Missy Gannon in the 4, Hannah Blomroos in the 5. Your reactions?
Well, people are already freaking out because Anthony Barella is not in the top 10 yet. He moved up to 11th. Look, I need to see the math. I still don't believe we've seen the math for how these rankings are put together. They are going to be slower moving than people want because they are a 2-year span. So, you know, Kristen's going to be at number 1 for a while.
Yep.
As she should.
And that's fine.
As she should. Now, I just think there's some oddities in these rankings. You know, one of the things we talked about right before the show is like, how is Evelina in front of Missy? Like, that doesn't really make a lot of sense given Missy's last season and this season.
And the season before. And
right.
And
so I don't quite get that. Missy came into this year ahead of Evelina by a spot. But Evelina has moved up and Missy has dropped. I mean, I guess, like, I don't know. Like, they say the majors have the most weight, but I just don't really feel like I'm seeing that actually come through in these rankings. So I don't understand.
Charlie, you use the word oddities. Let me put it a little bit differently. Evelina being ahead of Missy is an indefensible decision that makes me completely question if these rankings are worth anything. Missy is higher rated. She has more wins. She's a major winner, and Evelina just barely got her first win. There is zero defensible reason Evelina should be above Missy. Zero.
All right, here's the defensible. Here's what I would imagine the defensible reason would be. Okay,
give it to me.
She's finished first, fourth, eighth, second, and then 15th at the major. Okay. First, fourth, eighth, second, 15th. Missy has finished second. Oh, sorry. That's All-Star. Third, ninth, third, first, fourth. No, you're right. Completely indefensible.
Completely indefensible.
No sense. Somebody show me the math because I don't get it.
It is completely indefensible.
Maybe did these rankings not include the major? Like, it says April 3rd, so in theory
it says April 3rd.
I really don't get it.
It is indefensible. Like, I pulled this up and I said, "Oh, this is a joke." Okay, not taking this seriously.
Well, and obviously, people are feeling the same way about Barella, and I saw some comment somewhere that like it was like, how is it possible that Anthony Barella is not in the top 10 after the season start that he's had? And to an extent, I agree with that. I feel like maybe there's a little too much weight given to older events. I am glad they do a 2-year time horizon, right?
And that's fine with me.
We need to have stability in these rankings. People freaking out about Eagle being up at the top, I think, are wrong. Like, Eagle, just because he's not playing, doesn't deserve to just disappear from the rankings.
Yes.
The thing is, like, if you come out and you win 2 events and you don't miss the top 4 for like a month and a half, I feel like the recency needs to be pushed up a little bit in the rankings.
Perhaps, but I can at least see why the algorithm is still lagging, right? If their argument is, listen, it's a really slow moving algorithm, then okay, fine, right? I may not agree with it, but it's a fine perspective to have in our collective rankings that we have that we look at.
I mean, it definitely hurts Anthony that he had like multiple terrible finishes last year.
Agreed.
Including 50th at USDGC, 70th at MVP Open. He had some real clunkers out there. So like I get it, right? And he is moving up. Mm-hmm. He is moving up. But it does feel odd not to give him a little more credit. But yeah, I don't know.
Fine.
Weird rankings.
But I literally do not know how you build an algorithm that puts Missy above that puts Evelina above Missy. I cannot fathom it.
Yeah, it's strange.
I really can't. Like, yeah. I'm not even being hyperbolic right now. I truly cannot. So,
I mean, the end of last season, okay, right? The end of last season.
Sure. You mean the tournament Missy won?
Evelina goes 4th at Worlds, 4th at MVP, 4th at US Women's, 3rd at Throw Pink. Missy goes 2nd at Worlds, 13th at MVP, 8th at US Women's, 6th at Throw Pink. I don't know if they include the Tour Championship. They probably don't. But even still, I mean, I don't know.
But then you go back a little further, and you have to include Missy's 4th at Idlewild and 4th at D-Glow that Evelina didn't play.
But you don't get that. You don't get a big penalty for not playing. It seems.
Well,
that's
and then
why
she
Eagle's
wins.
Still so high.
Well, sure, but it's not like Missy's finishing 10th when Evelina's not playing. She's top 5 and 1 Ledgestone.
I agree with you. It doesn't make sense.
It's dumb. All right, Charlie, we got an email from a listener. It was a very good email, and I know we wanted to read it. It is titled "Too Much Texas" and comes from Anson. Charlie?
Oh, I'm reading it.
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to read it?
I'm happy to.
Okay.
Give me a second.
Sorry.
I'll pull it up. Yeah, so we talked about this on the show on Tuesday. Anson says, longtime listener, first-time emailer, just wanted to say your thoughts on Too Much Texas are absolutely spot on. From a business perspective, it makes no sense. I have experience running large events and thinking about things such as regional draw, saturation, scheduling, etc., and everything the DGPT does in Texas is wrong. First, regional draw. Texas is so big, it has none. As you said, cities in Texas are close to nothing. So right off the bat, any event in Texas is limited to drawing from other cities within the state. I will say, I believe it was Gabe. Somebody emailed or posted in the Discord, and they live in Oklahoma City, and they often go down to a Texas event.
Okay. All right.
So, it's not only Texas people. Thus, says Anson, having multiple tournaments in Texas in a short span of time significantly lowers your overall reach, as you are limited in the pool of fans you can pull from. Next, the concentration of tournaments, both geographically and chronologically, oversaturates the market with your product. And He says, ideally, you would have only 2 tournaments in Texas at 2 different times of the year. The best case scenario would be spring and fall. That way, you guarantee all Texas disc golf fans are going to buy tickets and come out. By separating the 2 tournaments by multiple months, you also increase the likelihood of people attending both. He says, I'm sure there are other professional level courses around the country that are in underserved areas that would love to host a tournament. So, yeah, I mean, spot on. And I think it's, assuming that what he says is true, that he works in events and thinks about this. Yeah. Like, it's good to hear that from somebody who's actually like essentially in this events industry.
Right.
It just, as he points out elsewhere in the email, like, people in Texas are not going to go to all these events. They're going to go to one. So you're just distributing all these people to one of these events, and then you kind of have soft fandom at everything. It just doesn't make it. It doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. And you know what the worst part is like, I can fly direct. If there was a tournament in Dallas, I might actually go to that because I can fly direct from Salt Lake to Dallas or Idaho Falls to Dallas for actually reasonable ticket prices. I don't know why it is.
Don't lie. You just want to go to a Stars game.
Dude, look, man, we're number 1 in the power rankings right now. Top of the Central Division. I would have gone to a Stars
sports
game.
Weekend would be pretty fun though.
It would be. But it's easy to get to Dallas for me. It's not as easy to get to those surrounding areas, and so I mean that even there, like it's hard to see the upsides, and from the business side of being in Texas this long.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing in 30-second rule. Charlie, what's the source of this one? We've got ratings points per stroke for events that happen this
is
season.
From Steve, Statmando Steve in the
Statmando
Discord.
Steve. Okay, cool. Statmando Steve coming in clutch. Got some good stats here.
Let me preface this. Let me preface this.
Okay.
There's been some chatter that this Texas State's was memorial-ish in its ratings distribution, and that there was some inflation.
Sure.
So
we asked that
that's
question.
The context, right? And that's the context for these stats.
Okay. So here we go. Chess.com comes in at 6.0.
This is ratings points per stroke.
Correct. Okay. Waco came in at 7.7. Austin came in at 7.2. And Texas State's came in at 7.7, the same level as Waco. Now, Steve did the math for us. The Memorial came in at 10 rating points per stroke. So no, Texas was not. I mean, this Anthony Barella and Gannon Burr just played that good at disc golf.
They were so awesome. Look,
they were so awesome.
It can both be true that the course is on the easier side of tour events, which I think is true. If you look at the like average to par performance across the field, it's probably going to come in as a top 5 easiest course on tour.
Yep.
But that does not then directly lead to it's a ratings inflation course.
Yes.
And I think like, yeah, there's OB, but there's not like aggressive, like randomness OB out there. Like if you make a bad tee shot off the fairway, you go out of bounds. But like it was like a normal level of OB, I thought, for a course like this. OB often didn't come into play. You just look at the like results, right? Barella and Burr are shooting like 5 strokes better than literally the rest of the field. That's what 1100 should feel like.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly right.
Shout out to some awesome performances this weekend.
Speaking of indefensible math from the PDGA, looking at you, Memorial.
I don't know what's up with that. I mean, I don't ever really think I've seen a coherent, like, this is why this happens explanation. Like, there's all the theories about it. It's like, well, lower rated players like get ultra crushed by the OB.
Sure.
And so the best players are able to outperform. And like, that's why we're seeing this huge differential in ratings points per stroke. And I believe that all basically makes sense to me, but I would love for somebody to really dig in and do the math.
I'm curious if for maybe somebody who knows, do amateur divisions play the same layout as on the Memorial, or like do FPO players?
I don't know.
Because I wonder if other divisions besides MPO play the exact same layout, if that would help as well.
I don't know.
Love to hear some emails. Write us about this one if you have actual knowledge about this.
Upshot@ultraworld.com.
That's it for 30-second rule, Charlie.
Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody. No disc golf tournament this weekend, so we can all kind of relax. Oh, I almost forgot. The college disc golf championships are this weekend, Josh.
Oh, that's right.
So good luck to all of the competitors. I believe they've already gotten started.
I think like the D1 women's singles is done.
It's already done?
Yeah, because like they have like the
played in
team
one
and the
day?
singles.
Wow.
I think we saw a winner. We'll call out all the winners next week.
We'll call them out.
Yeah. So we'll come back, but
so let's see.
yeah, it's only a round and then a final 9. 1 round and then a final 9.
Got it.
Kelly White.
Shout out to Kelly White from UNC.
Yeah.
4 under. Beats out Genesis Beck from NC State by a stroke. So, yeah, we'll shout out everybody next week.
Yeah.
And good luck to all the players. That is going to do it for the Upshot. For Josh Mansfield, I'm Charlie Eisenhood saying so long, and we'll talk to you next week right here on the show.